be afraid. Come with me.
Can't touch me! Stand back! No!
Come watch with me. Well, hey there. You ready to watch some creepy videos with me? Well, you're in for a treat. Anyway, hey guys, it's Soul here, and today we're gonna watch some creepy videos like we did last time. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but yeah, I did want to make this a series. So yeah, definitely gonna get back into watching some creepy stuff online. So yeah. Anyway, so here we have a story from Llama Arts. I actually do strongly recommend this channel if you guys are into creepy animated stories. But yeah, guys, wish me luck. We're going into full screen. Oh boy. Here we go. It begins now.
This is a story about how I became a 30-year-old male who is secretly afraid to be outside after dark in cities.
Get rid of that
I
ad.
live in Manchester, in the UK, and it's widely regarded as a relatively safe and multicultural city. Good transport, friendly locals, and plenty to do. I don't live there anymore, but I'm proud to be from there, and I will always have one hometown. This took place in 2016. And at the time, I was working for a company that hired me to work on contracts. So 4, 6, sometimes even 8 months abroad, and then 2 or 3 months at home. So when I was home, I made sure to see family and friends as much as possible, whether it be meeting and playing video games, a drink at the bar, playing sports, or traveling together. The incident took place when I was on my way home after a night out drinking, and I write this 4 years on since it happened. I still have
man.
PTSD from the incident, and think of this as my way of telling you all to be careful out there, as well as this being an opportunity for me to talk about it.
Damn.
Those who know Manchester know about its quite frankly amazing tram system. It's affordable and easy to understand. There is a tram
Yeah, I don't
station
know that.
right near to my
Good info,
apartment,
though.
just outside the city center. I had been back in the country for 7 days and arranged to meet my friends in the city for a reunion of sorts, drinking, dancing, and catching up. You know how that
It
goes.
was like the normal stuff.
It's
yeah.
important to note at this point that at the time there was a
Normal
homeless
adult
gentleman
stuff.
that adopted the tram stop near my apartment as his own. He would always sit at the top of the stairs leading down to the platform, and whenever I used the tram, I would always see him without fail. It had even gotten to the point where we exchanged a friendly nod to each other every time. But this time, on the way to the city to meet my friends,
Oh,
everything changed.
here's where it gets
On any
creepy.
normal occasion, he would be sitting under the shelter at the top of the stairs, either asking passers-by for money or just saying hello. But as I approached the top of the stairs, around 20 to 30 meters away, I saw him, and he stood up straight, almost too straight, with his chest out,
damn,
just
hell no.
glaring right at me in the most menacing way. His brow was furrowed, his
I'm
jaw
sorry, but I
was
mean,
clenched.
I
and he
saw
was
someone like
breathing
that, I'd be
heavily.
like,
I could see his chest rising
Be
up
like,
and
either
down
turn back.
with speed from now 20 meters away.
or jump
Maybe
somewhere.
drugs
I don't
was
know.
involved or something had angered him. Why me? I thought. Now, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'm 6 foot and athletic, but I
Oh,
don't
dang.
believe violence is the answer in any case. I'm not easily intimidated at all,
He's a
but
good man.
the way this guy looked at me sent shivers down my spine. I immediately looked down after we made eye contact, and then looked ahead, because I thought maybe it was just a glance from him.
That's cool, man.
Then,
I'm pretty sure you
I
can
looked
take him
back at
though.
him
With
again.
all those.
When I was even closer, his eyes were still on me. This time they were wide, and he looked unhinged like he was ready to attack. I looked away again because at this point I felt I had to ready and prepare myself for a potential confrontation with this guy.
There we go.
When I was close to him,
At least
I
he
looked
knows.
back again, and he took a step
Yeah,
forward,
he has no chance.
watching my every move, looking me up and down as if he was assessing my weaknesses.
Shoot, man.
As I approached the top of the staircase, he was turning his head as I moved. I knew that this was not normal behavior from him, or anyone for that matter. I thought I have to address this, because he's freaking me
Oh,
out.
damn.
So I stopped, met his gaze, and pointed my body towards him just before I went down the stairs. And I calmly asked him, "Is everything okay, mate?
Oh.
Can I help you
Yeah,
with something?" Nothing.
Maybe you shouldn't have
I
confronted
got
him.
absolutely nothing as he looked into my eyes.
Eek.
I could hear his fast breathing at this point through his nose, and he looked like he was having some sort of episode. So I moved on and quickly went down the stairs.
Yeah, hell no.
What the fuck has gotten into this guy? I thought. I
You
almost
shouldn't
felt
be
bad for
wondering,
him.
just keep going.
At the halfway point of the stairs, I looked behind me to see him standing at
shit.
the top, looking down, directly at me again. I could only describe
That's a
the look he
sign
gave
of
me as
get the hell out of there,
bone-chilling.
man.
He looked like a predator that had found his prey.
Fuck.
I kept moving as I didn't know if this guy had a weapon or what his intentions were at this point. When I got to the bottom of the stairs, I turned around again. And to my
Disappeared.
shock, he had walked 4 to 5 steps
Oh,
down.
shoot, never
Still
mind.
standing and glaring at me with the same disturbed
Then we're gonna
and
do the whole
angered look.
disappear thing.
He was clearly stalking me now.
Oh,
I could
God.
feel my heartbeat in my ears, and sweat was forming on my forehead and palms.
Psych
Luckily
bed.
for me, the platform was very busy, and the tram I needed to catch was
I
approaching.
get it on that tram
So I quickly
immediately.
immersed myself amongst the crowd of people getting onto the tram and found a
Completely
seat.
Took me by
Wouldn't
surprise.
you know it? When I sat down
I
and the
thought he
tram
was gonna
started moving,
disappear when he turned
I
around.
looked back towards the bottom of the staircase, and there
But
he
no,
was.
damn, this guy's really
glaring
after
at me
him.
with this horrific, sinister grin on his
Shoot,
face.
dude. You've gone
I
and
did
done it
not
now.
feel safe. I felt targeted. His head moved and
Well,
followed
yeah, you
the
confronted
tram,
him.
looking me in the eyes as we moved away. The entire journey to the city, I felt on edge, anxious, and all I could do was think about that guy. When I
Damn.
eventually got there, my friends automatically picked up on the fact that I seemed a little off, so I told them about the situation I was just in.
Alright,
which
good.
They just dismissed,
Oof.
saying that I was probably
Some
just
friends.
being paranoid and that he'll be gone by the time I get back home. I agreed with them because I realized that he is usually only there during the daytime, so I enjoyed the night. We all drank, laughed,
Alright.
and even met some cute girls. Before I knew it, I
Okay,
was
that's good.
hammered, to the point where I had to look at my phone with one eye closed.
Ooh,
My
no,
balance
man.
was off, and I felt like I could throw up at any second.
I know for a fact I
It
wouldn't
was
get
around
drunk if I
midnight
knew
and time
somebody
to go
was like
home.
after me.
So I said goodbye to my friends and arranged to meet the
Be like
next
trying to
weekend
form
due
a
to the
police report or
success of this
something.
one. The last tram was approaching, and I had to run drunk as a skunk to make it in time. I got
Drunk
onto
as
the
a skunk.
tram, and when I got a seat and caught my breath, I remembered
How
what
would that
happened
look
at
like?
the tram station on the way back to the city. I felt sober suddenly, and I was honestly on the verge of an anxiety attack, until I remembered that I never usually see the guy late at night, which was comforting for the remainder of my journey. The tram
Damn.
arrived at my stop, and I got off. I just
Nice.
stood there for a second, surveying my surroundings.
Shoot, dude,
platform was
constantly on
empty.
edge the whole
The
time.
skies were clear, although
Poor guy.
dark. The air was warm, and the only sounds were the nearby traffic. and
Yes,
the
I'm
tram
sympathizing
and
with the
platform.
fictional character.
I
Yes.
remember it like it was yesterday. I looked towards
I'm
the
way
bottom
too
of the
into it.
staircase and the platform leading to the street, and I took a deep breath. I approached the stairs and looked towards the top. Much to my
Oh,
relief,
damn,
he
dude.
wasn't there. Stage 1 over. Stage 2 was easy. Get to my building, which was about 150
Oh, there
meters
we
away
go,
from the
that's-
stairs.
I was gonna just say that
As I
like,
slowly walked up the stairs, trying to make as little noise as possible, my
damn,
heart was
step
in my
by
throat.
step.
All I could think about was what I would do if he was there. But I was drunk and I didn't think fast enough. I arrived
How
at
can
the
you even
top
think when you're
and
drunk,
looked to
man?
my left, and what do you know? He's there. And as soon as I look at him, his head snaps, and he's looking me in the eyes with the same
Damn.
terrifying look, almost foaming at the mouth like he's won a prize. He stands up slowly and turns to face his body towards me. At this point, I realized how tall he was. About 6'2", huge gray and dirty beard, almost
Shoot.
skinny with a lean body type. I was almost pissing myself. So to break the tension, I just nodded at him and
This
told
guy's
him,
gonna mess me
"Good
up.
night, mate." And I walked on quickly towards my apartment. I suddenly heard a deep, hoarse voice say, "You got any spare change?" Loud and obnoxious. which I turned and replied quickly whilst I was walking backwards. "No, mate. Sorry. Have a good night, though." And walked
I would
on
have given him
again.
at least a quarter.
I
Shoot,
was
man.
free, and my anxiety was
Quarter
disappearing.
most.
All I was thinking about was getting to my building as fast as possible. Then,
Fudge.
I heard what felt like the loudest, most aggressive voice ever. "Hey!" I stopped, and I turned around so fast because
Oh,
he made me
man.
jump and scared me. He was holding a knife, and it was pointed directly towards me.
It kind of be
The
a cool
nightmare
desktop
scenario was playing out now, and I held my
background.
breath as he walked slowly towards me.
You're into creepy
I
stuff.
was definitely
Shoot,
sober
dude.
now, and I weighed up the options. I run and take a
That's
risk,
good. One
or
good way to
I start
sober
to
up. Huh?
negotiate with him. I thought, there is an ATM nearby, I can get some
I
money
don't think it
and
works
just
for
go
most
home.
people though.
He was around 5 meters away,
He like
with the
that in
knife pointing
seconds.
towards me. I wasn't going to let myself die like this.
Damn,
He
I
then
ain't gonna
said,
go out a punk.
"I'm going to ask you again. Do you have any spare change?" I couldn't
like
tell
the voice
whether I
acting.
wanted to throw up or cry, but I had to get out of this situation. No one else was around that I could see or hear, and it was on me to get out of this. I said to him, "Look, there is an ATM." I couldn't even finish my sentence, because he had thrown the knife at my
Oh
face.
snap!
It hit me just above my eye, cutting me in my eyebrow, taking a chunk
Dude.
of skin clean off, and there was blood in my
Dude.
eye, partially blinding me, and
No,
there was blood
dude.
all over my face almost immediately. I was blinded and breathless.
Fight or flight,
I
man.
fell to one knee in shock, and
Oh,
I barely
God.
saw the knife in front of me.
Seems
on
like
the
a
ground
fight
through my
situation.
drunken, shocked, and partially blinded state. So I reached for it
no.
as fast as I could. But it was too late. He had already picked it up and tackled me
Oh.
to the ground.
Yeah, it is a fight.
I yelled a guttural and deep shout for help down the street as he tackled me, holding the knife. A sound I
Damn,
didn't know I
man.
was capable of making, but the adrenaline was coursing through my veins now. He had the knife in his right hand and plunged it down towards my face, and the only thing I could do was put my hand in the
Oh,
way. I
fudge.
screamed in pain as the guy was on top of me. He had put the knife clean through my hand,
Damn,
in
dude.
between the knuckles of my middle and index fingers,
Ah,
to be
that
specific.
that must have hurt like a.
I
bitch.
started to push back, and realizing how much stronger I was than him. The tip of
looks
the
like he has
blade
the
was about
Mangekyo.
5 inches from my face, and then a miracle happened. I heard the voices of a group of people yelling,
Damn.
Stop!
accompanied with their fast-running feet towards me on the tarmac.
Man,
The
they start
guy's
piling
grip
up
on the
on him.
knife was weak suddenly, and he looked behind himself, clearly seeing the group approaching. They shouted again, yelling,
Get off him!
and he jumped off of me. Unfortunately for me, he took the knife with him and ripped it out of my hands as he jumped to his feet and swiftly ran into the nearby woods. There were 5 people in total who came to my rescue. 2 of them initially chased the guy into the woods before I shouted.
Damn,
No, he
dude.
has a knife!
And hearing me say this, they let him go and started to call the police. This incident changed me for the better, and I wake up every day appreciating everything in my life. After the incident,
Those walks
I was
alone,
rushed
man.
to the hospital and I had surgery to reattach the
I don't
nerves
know.
in my hand 2 days later. The guy who attacked me is in prison now for attempted murder. The police showed after
Good.
the incident
They
within
got
5
him.
minutes, and full credit to them. They found the guy hiding in the woods, still holding the knife behind a tree, and they managed to subdue and arrest him on the spot. He was on a cocktail of drugs, and he
Shoot.
openly admitted to the police that he fully intended to kill me if he had the opportunity. But this
Oh,
incident
damn.
was simultaneously the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. The best, because I appreciate life so much more now.
Oh,
I talk to those I love every single day. All life is precious. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, and we are all mortal.
yeah.
Stay safe and alert, and do not waste a moment, as you don't know who's going to be waiting around the corner.
Damn, that's true. See, that's a well-told story, guys. Yeah, so definitely check out Llama Arts. He has some good stuff, and I just like the narration like throughout his animations. Narration just is so descriptive. It's really cool. That's really all I can really say about that. But yeah, we'll definitely be checking out this channel more frequent if like I make this more into a series kind of thing where we have more episodes coming in. But yeah, it just depends on my schedule, guys. Anyways, I'm gonna actually jump onto another story. I've been gonna try to keep it as to where we do 4 or maybe 3 stories throughout each episode. So that's how the series gonna work. So anyways, on to the next story. This one comes from Martin Animations. Pretty legit. I haven't actually checked out this channel, but here we go. This one, I think we're gonna see like 2 from this one and then jump on to the next one that I have prepared too. But yeah, let's do this.
Me to explain. I was a senior in high school at the time, and I was definitely not a popular kid. My friends and I were the oddities of the school, the few people who dared to defy the norm. It was them who told me about the deep web, a place on the internet where you are completely unwatched, anonymous, capable of doing whatever you wanted. Of course, I was intrigued. Most of my friends just used it to buy drugs, but I thought a little bit bigger. I wanted to know what happened in the darkest parts of the deep web, whether or not my friends were telling the truth when they talked about horrible fetish sites and assassins you can hire to kill anyone you'd like. Of course, I wasn't planning on using any of it. It was the mystery of it all that fascinated me.
Yeah,
Going
that's
onto
usually
these
what
sites
gets
would be
people.
like peering into a world only a few have ever seen, like an entirely new experience. At the time, I was tired of the monotony of life. I would get up at the same time every day, go to school, attend the same classes, talk to the same people, go home, play video games, do homework, go to sleep, and then repeat. I wondered if other people got tired of that. Anyway, it took me a while to actually dive into the deep web. As fascinated as I was, I had been warned of what could happen to me. Who isn't afraid of being threatened by hackers or stalked by some creep you pissed off online? That kind of shit kept me from actually going on the deep web. Until the day I manned up and decided that it was time. It was time to delve into the underbelly of the internet. Time to see a world that I'd only ever dreamed of. For the first week or so, it was fucking boring. It was just drug sites and stuff where people exposed government secrets, or whatever. Nothing as dark as I expected. I wasn't really into politics. I don't even do drugs. So that was useless to me. There wasn't really much I was into back then. So I was disappointed. The only reason I kept exploring was my sheer desire to experience the world I thought existed on the deep web. That world was darker than any drug site. That world had murder, torture, and all sorts of nasty shit. He's a psychopath. I eventually got my wish. The site didn't have a name. I thought it was a broken link for a bit, since it only led me to a black screen. Right before I could click out, however, a chat box opened up on the screen. Someone using the name admin typed in the chat box saying, "Congratulations, you found the worst place on the fucking net." I stared at the screen, more bemused than afraid. It took me a moment to type back, "Cool." That's all I said. What else was there to say? "Hey, I'm here to see your finest torture porn." A moment after, the admin replied,
"Damn.
Haha.
This guy is something else."
I hesitated. All those horror stories were flooding back to my head. But it was too late to chicken out now. This is what I came for. Even if I just clicked out at the first sign of danger, I had to see what was there. I had to know. Not allowing myself to stop, I hesitantly typed back, "Yeah."
I'm not fetish shaming anybody,
and I was led directly
to
what looked like a video.
This guy
with another chat
has
box
to go to the
next
dark
to
web.
it. There were around 5 other people there, each eagerly waiting for something. The video was in black and white, and showed a small room. The only thing inside was a wooden chair. After around 5 minutes of waiting, The door to the
Here we
room
go,
opened,
guys. Here we...
and a man was shoved inside. He was
Oh no.
blindfolded and only had on a pair of black briefs. He was followed by a woman. She was dressed in all black, and her face was covered by a mask. In an instant, the chat room went wild. I almost closed the window to spare myself, knowing immediately where this was going.
Yeah.
But again, I told myself that this was what I wanted. Maybe not the torture, but the window into the very
Damn, his
worst parts of
curiosity,
the world.
man.
The woman
Got
pulled
the
a knife
better
from
of
her
him.
pocket and cut off the man's blindfold as she shoved him into the chair. He didn't struggle, and once his eyes
Jeez,
were
that guy
visible, I
looks all
could see
twacked
why.
out, dude.
It looked as if he had been drugged.
Damn.
Resisting was impossible. I frowned, glancing to the side. This was fucked up. I knew this was fucked up.
Yeah,
My conscience told me to call the cops, or at least click off.
dude.
But I forced myself to watch. She turned to the camera, pointing the knife at the man's throat. One of the people in the
I
chat
don't think at
typed,
that point the cops
"One of
would
the
even do
fingers.
anything. Be too
cut
late.
off one of his fingers. I clenched my hands into fists, taking in a sharp breath. Was this really fucking happening? Was I going to watch this guy get mutilated, as a small crowd of people watched in glee? I felt like throwing
What
up,
the fuck, dude?
a feeling that only worsened when the woman nodded, and then turned to the man, grabbing his limp hand and carefully slicing off one of his fingers.
Ew.
Blood spurted from the wound, and the man moaned in pain, but he couldn't fight back. Breathing heavily, I hovered my cursor over the X, planning on getting the fuck out of there. But I didn't.
Hell.
The woman looked unsatisfied, as if she thought the people in the chat could do better. Another person called for her to slice up the man's arm, and she complied. He was
Damn,
bleeding
dude.
heavily now, clearly in deep pain. But these people
I don't even know how
were
to
fucking
capture.
sick.
Yeah,
They were
dude.
cheering her on from the chat,
You go through it
suggesting
doing that
new
to a
and
human
painful
being.
tortures for her to inflict. Eventually,
Fuck, man.
I stopped breathing heavily.
Makes you wonder.
I stopped feeling sick. Actually,
Fucking sick fucks.
it was starting to grow on me.
Oh god.
By the end, the man was on the ground, covered in blood. I watched this for around half a minute. The people in the chat were starting to die down.
Dude.
They inflicted enough pain. They had their fun. Funny, I thought. How it was all over just when I was getting
His
into
face.
it. I smirked. How exciting. This was
Oh,
better than any
jeez.
game I could play. Much better than any fucking class I could attend. Better than sitting with a group of fucking nobodies pretending like I cared for a goddamn second about them. This was the world I wanted to see.
Oh shit.
This was darkness.
You
This
got
was
high
the
up on that.
underbelly. This was reality.
Damn, man.
Fucking end him. I typed in the chat for the first time. She nodded for the last time, bringing the man to his feet before slowly dragging her blade across his
Oh.
throat, sending more of his blood spurting out. Once it was
Damn.
done, she dropped him, and he
Just
fell
like
to the
that, huh?
ground, a lifeless husk. The people in the chat started complimenting the torturer, talking about how it had
Fucking-
been another good time, starting to set the date for the next showing. On screen,
It's getting a
the woman
boner
left
out
the
of-
room, leaving the corpse behind. Of course, I quickly wrote down the date for the next showing. This was going to be a part of
What
my
the
life
fuck?
now. I was going to be a part of something bigger. I was going to command the death of these people. What a rush.
Dude.
So yeah, I still love
I had
the
a
deep
feeling
web.
it was gonna turn
I'm in
out
college
like that.
now, and now I'm even more immersed in the deep web. I've seen shit some people would freak out just knowing exists.
He became
I finally broke
desensitized
the monotony
beyond.
of life. Isn't it inspirational? How one high schooler defies the inherent boredom of his life by discovering his true passion?
They let this
I
kid have too much
love
freedom.
the deep web.
It's the parents' fault in the end. This is why you don't let your kids go on the dark web, man. Some
Hey,
psychological
if you wanna
stuff
save money when
that
you
goes
shop
down.
Online, you should
that.
click right here and download Honey.
I'm serious. Like I heard stories like that. It's crazy, man. How kids, how impressionable they can be, and then like having these things going on the internet. It's insane. But yeah, shoot, that was pretty creepy. And we're gonna jump on to third video here. I don't know what this one's called, but
Years
I
ago.
missed the title, I think.
I haven't touched any technology after what happened until now. So I've been using tech since I was a kid.
I
When
think
was
this is all
12, I
dark
learned how
web
to write
stories.
scripts
Alright.
and programs to hack into systems, and ever since I was
Damn.
hooked. In my second year of university, I was quite good at hacking, albeit somewhat cocky. Throughout high school, I had made a lot of money
FBI
hacking.
are gonna be after this guy.
People would come to me to recover their hacked social media accounts, or to hack into their boyfriend's phone to read their messages. I was known as the go-to guy if you wanted something hacked.
I like the
Even
eye
my
shift
school
there.
would occasionally come to me for help. Like I said, I made a lot of money back in those days. Halfway through my second year of university, I started getting bored of this. The money was good, but there was no thrill anymore. One of my friends told me about this cool thing called the dark web. I had heard of the dark web
no.
before, but it never really seemed that interesting. My friend told me about how it was full of drugstores, weapons dealers, hackers for hire, and a bunch of fucked up porn sites. As a hacker and a
Dude.
stoner, the dark web seemed right up my alley. When I got home that day, I fired up my computer and did some quick Googling. With my vast knowledge of technology, it didn't take me long to get set up with Tor and Tails installed on my computer. I browsed through the hidden wiki, finding most of the websites boring or dead. I texted my friend asking if he had any interesting link directories. He replied, "Here are a few of the ones I use." He then sent me 5 links. I decided to click on the second one and see what I could find. I scrolled through the
dude,
directory
no.
for a few minutes.
Turn back while you still
He was
can.
right about how interesting the dark web was. I couldn't figure out where to start, so I clicked on a chat room.
Shoot.
The website looked
It begins.
old and primitive, but surprisingly there was one person online. I started talking to him. He seemed kind of shady, but this was better than just scrolling through a bunch of dead websites. He said he had been on the dark web for a while. Finally finding someone with a vast knowledge of what's on the deep web, I asked him if he had any interesting links. He sent me a link,
Oof.
then immediately left the website. I had no idea what was hidden behind that link.
Oh,
I
man,
wish
you
I
should-
hadn't clicked on
yeah.
it. But at the time,
bad.
my own curiosity overwhelmed me, and I clicked on the
It
link
often
without
does
giving
for
it
a
a
lot of
second
us.
thought. After it finally
Though
loaded,
I wouldn't go to the dark
I was
web.
presented with a
look up
pop-up box.
Freaky stuff.
It said in red text, "If you don't know what's next, you're probably in the wrong place." There were 2
Eek.
buttons, continue and leave. I instantly
I don't-
clicked continue.
I don't think either
Biggest
way.
mistake of my
If he would have
life.
put leave, probably would have been the same thing.
It brought up a black screen with a blood red
Can't trust
title at the
dark web,
top.
man.
The Freak Show.
Ooh.
A message popped up.
Hello.
Interesting website you got here.
Thank you. Are you here for the show?
I thought to myself, what show? Out of curiosity, I
He
replied,
was doing voice chat. I was
yes.
like,
Since you are a first-time viewer, it's going to cost you 500 Bitcoin. Future viewings are free.
From all the money I made hacking, I had enough to fuel my curiosity, so I went ahead and paid the 500. After paying him, I was given a zip file instead of a link. I had developed a custom-made antivirus that appeared to work very well, so I took the risk and downloaded it.
This
When
guy
I
was
unzipped the
prepared.
folder, there was 2 files
At
inside,
least he was
an
prepared.
installer, and a file named README. I started by opening the text file. It just said,
Do not send the installer to anyone, or else.
Eek.
I went ahead and closed the text and opened the installer. It took about 15 minutes to install, which is strange for my computer.
15 minutes?
After
Damn.
installing, it opened up automatically. Across the
long is the
screen it
video?
said,
Hello.
Or
Welcome to the
program,
Freak
whatever.
Show. We use custom program for our streams instead of live streaming on Tor due to the slow speeds. We also need the extra security.
After
Huh.
about 10 seconds, the screen changed. It was now a countdown, with a chat room next to it.
That's interesting.
At this point, I was starting to feel that whatever happened next would not be good. The timer displayed that there was 30 minutes until the stream started. I set my screen name to
Dude.
James Kent 157. Not my real name, but I needed an alias. I said hi in the chat, but was ignored. I waited the 30
Damn.
minutes, and after the timer hit 0, a video feed began. On the screen there was a guy in a mask with 3 people side by side in front of
Oh
him.
shoot.
He started speaking with a voice changer.
Welcome to the Freak Show. We're happy to see all of our old viewers and a few new ones. We will now randomly choose one of you to tell us who to kill first and how to kill them.
At that point,
Damn.
I realized I was fucked.
Yeah.
I was in too
You
much
are,
shock
man.
to close the window. I watched as the feed turned into a bunch of names scrolling, until it landed on someone named Gore725. I watched as he typed out his horrific demands, which involved stabbing and dismemberment, and finishing him off with hot metal. I watched as the sicko did all of this. I watched as the victim screamed in pain.
Dude,
After everything was said
what?
and done, he said.
Now, who's next?
After he said that, I snapped out of it and went to close the page.
Damn, the dude
When I
was
clicked on
like
the X,
petrified.
it said,
Sorry.
Just let
No
himself
reading
get cut
your
up like that.
stream.
I was trapped.
God,
The
dude.
randomizer popped up again, and this time, it landed on my username. I couldn't
Oh,
respond.
snap.
Instead, I typed in the chat, "You sick fucks. Why are you doing this?" I was
Dude,
met
it's a
with
dark
all the
web.
people in the chat calling
Your
me
friend even
names
told
like
you what it
pussy,
had.
dumbass, retard. I then said, "I'm calling the police." That
There's no
was a
point.
big mistake.
Yeah.
The
Like,
owner
that's
of the
gotta
site
help,
then
like-
said,
Call the police, and you'll be in the next stream, Logan.
that made my heart freeze. He knew my real name. He then pasted my
You're gonna
parents'
tell
names,
somebody.
my
Don't
address,
tell them.
school,
Hey, I gotta call
age,
outside.
and IP in the chat.
That's a sign that they're
I
gonna
immediately
figure
pulled
out
the
a way
plug
to
on my computer,
escape.
and my
man.
screen
Come
went
on.
black. I then ran to my parents' room and told them what happened. They called the police, and they provided us with protection. Within a few months of investigation, they found the website's owner. He was a 32-year-old man who lived off a combination of welfare and the money he made from his red room. It
Dude.
was many years later before I finally started using technology again. The dark web is an abyss of terrible things, and if you're smart, you'll stay the hell away from it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Dude, man.
About
Anyways, so that was 2 videos from Martin Animations. I gotta say that was legit, man. Pretty good stuff. Like the narration and overall like the animation style. It's not too bad. I mainly go for like the narration of the video and like the storytelling, which is more impactful in terms of what I look forward to in these animated scary stories. So yeah, definitely like check out Martin's Animations if you guys are into like horror animated stories, as I said previously. And yeah, we're gonna jump on to the last story now. So here we are. We got Wincy Entertainment. It's a big channel. All right. Let's check you out, man. Full screen. It begins. True Scary Discord horror story.
My son used to be very active on something called Discord, which, from what I understand, is a messaging app for people who play video games. It allowed him to talk to people from all over the world that play the same games as him. So at some point, he broke the news to us that he'd been talking to a girl over in the UK named Lori.
Ooh,
She and he had become friends,
pen
playing
pals,
some sort
huh?
of pirate game, playing together most days and talking pretty much all the time when they weren't at their computers. And eventually, he just up and asked her if she wanted to be his girlfriend, and she says
Aw.
yes. It was definitely a new
Adorable.
concept for someone like me who grew up at a time when cell phones weren't even a thing, but I understand that we live in the digital age where new methods of dating are coming to the fore, so I just tried to be happy for him, as any mom should when their kid gets their first girlfriend or boyfriend. Plus, with an entire ocean between them, it's
So
not
that's
like
a
I have to
mom
worry about
like talking about it.
them getting accidentally pregnant or something. However,
True.
one Sunday afternoon, my son emerges from his boy cave for what seemed like the first time in days. Walks into the TV room where me and my husband are sat, and with a very concerned look on his face. We asked him what the matter was, and he just kind of shrugs, tells us everything is cool, and then just kind of wanders out again.
So they break up.
So as you can imagine, me and my husband give each other a look as if to be like, what was that about? My husband gets up,
Parenting.
follows our son
Damn,
into
man.
the living room before gently prodding him about anything that might be bothering him. From what he told me, our kid was just doing that typical boyish thing of pretending that everything was fine, but in a way that tells us that he's obviously upset
Yeah,
about something.
it'd be like that,
My
man.
husband then told me he asked after Lori, with our son responding in almost a visceral way of like, why are you always in my business, blah blah blah. He'd obviously touched on a sore subject, so our general conclusion was that he and Lori had broken up, and he just
That's
didn't
what
want to
I
talk
figured.
about it. We weren't about to press him on it, so we kind of just left him to it to get over and move on to someone new.
Ah, that's good
But over the
parenting.
next month or so, our son seemed to get increasingly
Animation,
depressed.
they sure know.
He'd spend more and more time up in his room, only ever coming out to go to school or eat dinner and then just retreating back to his little boy cave. Like I said, we figured this was because he'd split up with his internet girlfriend, but
Oh,
one time my
man.
husband was walking past his room and blatantly heard him talking to someone via his little voice
Yeah,
chat
no
Discord
eavesdropping,
thing,
Dad.
addressing them as Babe and, at one point,
Oh.
Lori. So apparently they're still talking at that point, but we still assume that they were having
That was kinda
relationship
creepy.
issues, putting it down to the fact
like-
that they were like thousands of miles apart. I know long-distance relationships don't work at the best of times, even when people were just a few states away from each other, but these kids had an entire ocean separating them, so God knows how hard that must have been on them. Only, as we came to learn, that wasn't exactly the problem. It was something much, much darker.
You know, the menacing
So as
music.
I said,
creeping in.
our son seemed to be getting more and more depressed over the course of the month.
My
And
dude.
it got so bad that at one point that me and my husband discussed getting him a therapist or something to nip the problem in the bud before it could morph into something less easy to deal with.
I think at some
But
point we all
suddenly,
been
out
this
of
kid,
apparently
man.
nowhere, he just perks up.
Truly
One
relatable.
day he's looking better, feeling perkier, and is considerably more talkative. He actually seemed
Yeah, it's
keener
about
on spending
right.
more time with us too, which for a 16-year-old boy struck us as very unusual. I mean, not that we were complaining. It was nice seeing him feeling better about things, and we put it down to him meeting a new girl or just shutting out Lori from his life. This kind of sunny behavior carries on for like a week or so until one Saturday, when after coming down for breakfast, we don't see or hear from him for the rest of the day. Late in the afternoon, my husband goes up into his room, knocks on the door, and asks our son if everything is okay. He comes back down into the TV room, tells me there was no reply after knocking, then asks me if I'd seen him leave the house at all during the day. I tell
Oh
him no,
my.
that if he had gone over to a friend's house or whatever, that
Let's
he
hope
certainly
that's the
hadn't
case.
let me know. Then my husband just kind of shrugs, tells me he has a headache, then walks off
Oh,
to
my
the
dude.
downstairs bathroom to
That's
get
when
an
you
aspirin
should
from the
worry.
medicine
Not to
cabinet.
be all overprotective and
Next thing I
stuff,
know,
but
I can hear him springing down the hallway
Come
and up
on,
the
man.
stairs. His feet like boom, boom, boom as he rushed up to our son's room. I'm super confused. Like, what's going on? Before walking out into the hallway. From where I'm standing, I can actually see into the downstairs bathroom, and what I see makes my blood run cold.
my
We
dude.
usually kept all our pain pills and other such medication in a little plastic first aid kit style thing. We kept that thing stuffed to the gills, and there it was,
Shoot.
lying on the bathroom floor, almost completely empty.
Uh-oh.
Then, like my husband before me, it hit me what had happened. So I sprint up to my son's room where I find my husband
My
leaning over our boy's
Dude.
bed, shaking him like, "Wake up! Can you hear me? Wake up!" There's a pool of puke sitting on the bed
Why?
next to his head, and he's completely unconscious. And there are empty
No
pill
good.
trays lying on the floor nearby. As soon as I walk in, my husband runs back downstairs to call 911, and I take over the shaking and the wailing, begging him to open his eyes. Now the only light in the room was coming from his computer monitors, so at one point I look over to it and see one of the most haunting things I've ever seen in my life. On the screen is a webcam window from the Discord thing I mentioned,
Oh,
and it displays the body of a young girl that's just kind of dangling in midair. It took me a second to realize what I was looking at, but when I did, I almost screamed the house down. She
dude.
was hanging from something. I tried not to
Ew.
look, I really did. I just tried to focus on my boy as his dad ran back upstairs with emergency services on his cell. I should have told him not to look, but I was just distraught. I
Yeah.
could barely speak as he walks back into the room and starts describing our son's condition to the dispatcher on the other end of the line. He's frantically talking away when he does pretty much the same thing as me, turns around to see the webcam window open and the girl's body hanging on the screen.
Dude, no.
He just froze and stops talking, long enough for me to be able to hear the dispatcher say, "Sir, are you there, sir?" At which point he snaps out of his daze and carries on talking to the person on the other end. It
Dude,
was
that
he
Discord,
that then
dude.
had the same presence of mind to turn off the computer, all the while giving the EMTs their home address and begging them to arrive as quickly as possible. Our son was
That's like
taken to
that
the
whole
hospital where
Momo
he
thing,
promptly
dude.
has his stomach pumped.
That's crazy.
We stayed all night, waiting in the visitors area, and when a doctor finally approached us with an update on our son's condition, I found my heart racing as I prepared for the worst. But thankfully, we'd gotten him to the hospital just in time. He survived.
Damn.
Barely, but the same couldn't be said for the girl on the computer screen, who we assumed was this Lori girl
Was it?
he'd been in the long-distance relationship with.
Dude.
When our son woke up and saw us in
It's
the
a trip,
hospital room,
man.
he burst into tears. He apologized over and over again, and we all just cried it out together. He then proceeded to spill his guts to us
Did he
about what
try
had happened,
attempting?
and I honestly couldn't believe
You
my
know?
ears. It turned out that they formed a kind of pact together just the
Yeah,
week
that's
before.
what I was gonna say.
Right around the same time he seemed to have perked up and gotten out of the funk he was in. Apparently,
They were
that was
both
what did
gonna end it,
that
man.
she and he had figured out a way to escape the pain they were
That
suffering,
was the pact.
and that the revelation had been some kind of boost to him, as morbidly insane as that sounds.
Jeez.
We went ahead with booking him into therapy, and
It's dark.
he's doing much, much better now. We don't monitor his online activities, as he figured he'd just find a way to subvert us, but we definitely don't allow him to have a computer in his bedroom anymore. And
Yeah, I
since
think it was
then,
for the better.
me and my husband have made an effort to
For a
acquaint
fictional
ourselves with
story.
the darker corners of the internet, and believe me, there are some days I wish I hadn't. Because my God, are there some horrendous things out there, things I wish I'd never seen, and that I'll never be able to get out of my head.
Damn. Yeah, man. I know it might seem overprotective, but I mean this animation does raise a good point in that aspect. The fact that
My
you
son
shouldn't
is-
be like your kids, you should really do monitor just some of the stuff like they're on to or they're going to online, you know. I mean, video game wise, I don't think it's like as bad when it comes to just surfing the web, because holy, you already saw on this videos, man. If that doesn't tell you enough as a parent, I don't know what will. Just look after your kids, and if you feel like something is wrong, you should definitely, you know, talk to them or something, because when you feel like something is wrong, that's really when you should actually do something, even though it might upset your kid or something. Like, you have to make them understand that's you're only talking or trying to get them to talk for their well-being, you know. Yeah, so check out Wincy Entertainments. Definitely gonna keep up with this channel as well, and for the future videos, like reacting to whatever animations they come up with. Yeah, I just want to say, like, great job to everybody on these animations. Pretty cool. To everybody that helped make the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. That will really help out the channel a lot. And hit the notification bell once you're subscribed to actually stay updated with the latest videos, guys. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for today. Definitely looking forward to making more videos. So yeah, alright guys, till next time. Thanks for watching.